gentlemen, welcome back. Of course, I was going to say welcome to the LPL. As my name's Jake Asterix, FLICKR, joined by Barento Raz Mohammed. Day 2 of Rift Rivals continues now with a bit of a changeover and a bit of a takeover from you and me.
That's the exact wrong time to be talking about an LPL takeover. LCK secures the finals, my friend.
That's true. First seed.
We're being set to the guillotine is what's happened.
So very wrong timing, but still confident about how we're going to go through the rest of it, Raz.
Yeah, we have some great games ahead of us, and I really want to see how Dashing Buffalo is going to be proceeding, because as a team, I felt like they are the most impressive team from the VCS and LMS. Flash Roll's looking good. I think I'm even more excited for how Dashing Buffaloes can come ahead.
Yeah, of course, going up against GRIFFIN in this first matchup, you're like, now, LCK looking so darn good, and we've only seen one time of GRIFFIN against JDG. They looked impressive then with the talent in the mid lane from Chovy.
Yeah, and they weren't even happy with that performance.
Yes.
That's what surprises me. That's what shocks me. So, of course, trying to play as cleanly as possible as GRIFFIN, I think this is going to be an enemy they're looking forward to. So, of course, I want to see what comes after. We're going to be seeing, of course, the blue team here. It's going to be GRIFFIN, Sword up in the top lane, Tarzan in the jungle, Chovy your mid laner, and rounding out your bottom lanes, Viper and Lehens.
And Chovy playing the talent I pulled out before. I'm excited to see this mid laner once again, because the GRIFFIN spring finals runner-ups as we go over to the Dashing Buffalo Russ.
Ryzo in the top lane, Meliodas in the jungle, Null in the mid lane, and Big Koro and Pallet in the bot side of the map. I'm excited for Meliodas and Pallet. I think they were the best players from Dashing Buffaloes at MSI. They came out with some big performance, taking down G2, our MSI champions, and best team right now in the world. It's going to be fun to be able to see if they can replicate that performance, because they're going up against Goliaths and GRIFFIN.
That's right, and VCS, LMS, they need a win on the board for motivational purpose, for getting into that semi-final with something here. Smiles on the board, but at the moment for the VCS, you know, times are getting tough, and you just want something out of this region.
Look, we're in a situation, haven't seen this before, where LCK is on the workings for an 8-0, while the LMS and VCS are in a position for a 0-8.
That's right.
That's the reality that we're looking at. It's Dashing Buffaloes that wants to rescue LMS and VCS from being put in that position. I don't give a damn about them being, thrown into the semifinals. That's going to happen, sure. Pride is on the line here. You need to be able to pick up the win for the boys.
That's right, and when you talk about Meliodas and Pallet there before, they're the people to do it in this matchup. And the reason that I still believe in VCS LMS Raz is because Dashing Buffaloes, as you mentioned in the past, against G2, it was those wins, it was those tempo moments that get you into a team like this.
Yeah, and I thought that they got better as a team when they came back from MSI, being a slower paced team when they had their advantages. I want to see if they can even get an advantage going up against GRIFFIN. Of course, already starting, match 4, pick and ban.
Well, here we go, GRIFFIN and Dashing Buffalo head to head for the first time in this tournament, and already some cool changes coming out. Pallet with the priority on Nautilus, GRIFFIN just smacked down to take it away.
Well, we'll see what ends up happening. The only thing I'm concerned about is the red side's pick and ban. Karma has to be stricken off, so
that's true.
An easy ban there. Meliodas is a great Jarvan player. I expect him to actually take Sejuani off the field. I love the fact that GRIFFIN is targeting Meliodas. If we're just talking about MSI hopefuls and the real standout performers, I already talked about Meliodas and Pallet, but debatably Pallet was the best support at the event.
Yeah.
Being able to be a consistent force during the group stage, and so we'll have to see what we get out of here. Sejuani was the next ban.
Yep, of course, a couple of junglers still on the board. We've seen a lot of Jarvan so far. We're taking away Null's Akali here on the mid lane. Let's see what other flexes are gone through, because we've already seen some change-ups here in Rift Rivals, and one being the Silas priority into the jungle.
Yeah, and it makes Aatrox an even greater gain of a blue side first pick. So I think that's going to be the pickup. Lux is also available. Oh, this is interesting. For the support still being up and available, the fact that they're going towards a Tahm Kench means that they're trying to have a stronger bottom lane 2v2.
Okay.
Means they can just go towards a Varus as well. We already saw Deft's Varus earlier today, so a Varus and Tahm Kench lane seems very likely.
It's a big bottom lane to go into. GRIFFIN with the first pick, but Dashing Buffalo stirring up the crowd a little bit. We haven't seen the Gragas-Yasuo combination just yet. Meliodas being known for picking Gragas in the jungle as well, but this is still open and the Aatrox the right choice.
Yep, and the Lux is too. Something to make note of is that Dashing Buffaloes generally like playing into the Lux and the Yuumi with like the large picks. There's the Nautilus, as we already mentioned, being banned away. So first time in a long time for me being able to see Pallet pick up the Lux in the bottom lane. We'll have to see what ends up happening. It's great lockdown, but remember, you're going into a Tahm Kench lane who can go cleanse.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we'll yet to see that AD carry with champions like Sivir still being on the board, with GRIFFIN maybe going a different route this time around. Jace just smacked down here. And Sona too. Now that is a rotation if I've ever seen one. Sona
and Tahm Kench bottom lane.
Yeah.
That's going to be real tough to deal with if you're Dashing Buffalo. They already have the lockdown from the Lux. Need to be able to see. Yeah, there we go. They're hovering it. It's a good pick for Big Koro. Nail them down with the traps once you have that light binding, nailing them. They still have a lot of time. 17 seconds to be able to make the pick, so see what we get out of here.
You want to win that lane. You want to poke them down, and that's exactly what you're going to do with this comp. So what facilitates that? What can Meliodas get down the bottom lane with all this focus? They're banning junglers themselves. Xin Zhao taking off the board.
So I want the Aatrox to be the jungler. My concern with having Aatrox in your solo lanes is that GRIFFIN have already had a pretty good draft here of being able to nail down the Aatrox wherever it goes with the Jace. So if you can now go into the red side second phase and pick your solo laners as a response. So I'm talking about like Renekton with an Aatrox would be a pretty good 2v2 up top side. That would be something that I'm looking for. Remember, Azir is still up and available too.
Yep.
So that would be a pretty good top side for Dashing Buffaloes.
Okay, let's keep an eye, because it's the jungle bans from GRIFFIN that are making me think, well, do they suspect this to go towards that?
Irelia is an interesting one. That's a bit of a suspect ban, because that maybe makes it easier for Aatrox to go up top lane. Knowing that Irelia versus Aatrox is a very tough one. You can't nail her down with the slow that you have. So, damn, looks like it's going to be an Aatrox top.
Okay. Picked up once before by Raizo. Second game's the charm here with the hover over the Rek'Sai. Now for Meliodas, early pressure there. And this champion enables it, so they get that one as well.
I like it. I mean, it kind of forces Tarzan to now think about the jungle he go towards. Maybe a Nocturne, a Lee Sin if he wants to, because with Elise, Jarvan, Xin Zhao, Sejuani, Olaf, so many jungle bans immediately just looking at it. So Rek'Sai is pretty much an easy pick.
Oh, stop it.
My God.
You know you're playing to a Korean crowd.
Gragas set up, baby.
Ain't no place
Lock
like
it
home.
in.
Yes, they love it. Of course they're doing the Gragas. I know when you talk about it, it's one thing, but when you see it in the flesh from GRIFFIN.
And now Dashing Buffaloes are looking straight at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
And that's a tough one to deal with. Chovy's Yasuo
is sick. What do you run into it? LeBlanc being the matchup to really challenge the skill. Now, don't normally see this, but you're challenging that mid lane.
Gank setup is going to be important. LeBlanc and Rek'Sai, I mean, that's just brute force. You know exactly what's going to happen. The flash setup from Rek'Sai to make it easier, or even if you can nail the chain to begin with. But it looks like it's going to be an exhaust on Chovy. We'll see when we get into the game if he keeps that. But Gragas and Yasuo, once you hit 6, I mean, that just speaks for itself. There's no action going to be going towards the bot side of the map with the Tahm Kench and Sona. Expect GRIFFIN to be paying so much more attention to the top side because it's deadly.
And we saw Jason last game, we saw 369 from Top Esports, and how that was able to influence other parts of the map. So I'm curious how Sword mixes in with that mid 2v2. That just seems to be the go-to in this upcoming matchup.
There's so much, like so many variables in this game that we're going to have to track ourselves, because while we're kind of selling that bottom lane down the road as if like nothing's going to happen, that's a Caitlyn and Lux. Really, you don't know what's going to happen until the light binding lands.
Well, we'll have another look here, Raz, because with the Caitlyn Lux, Big Koro and Pallet in previous games, you're like, yeah, this is the highlight of Dashing Buffaloes, but an individual performance needed here from Null on the LeBlanc.
You have to be consistent. For Dashing Buffaloes, they need to be able to play their best game. You're going up against GRIFFIN with some styling picks that empower Chovy and Tarzan. So what I want to see, sure, Viper and Lehens are taking the backseat in this one to get to the mid game.
Yep.
But man, this is exactly what the fans wanted to be able to see when Chovy shows up in that international.
Also want to see the LCK hit that 8-0 mark. He said, this is how it begins, this is how it starts. 6-0. First place secured. Now it's just those brownie points that the Korean crowd want to see. That IG logo needs to get out of the way, because right now it should all be about GRIFFIN here as we move into the 7th match of the LCK, looking to challenge the VCS and keep them winless here at Rift Rivals Day number 2. fair enough. All right, welcome to Summoner's Rift, Raz. Good to have you by my side as we head into the 4th game of the day.
All right.
And, you know, first notice, let's just do our stock take. I want to point out Sword's runes to kick things off. Now, I know you're looking in a different direction. Sword going for the phase rush up in this top lane. We've seen the Airy. We've seen a lot of combat summoners here, but moving phase rush in.
Yeah, and you can tell, too, he has in the inspiration tree Biscuit's delivery. Just so he can keep himself topped up.
Yep.
Phase rush high, as you already mentioned, if he has a good trade, he can chase him down. That's something I want to see, especially in longer lanes. We already talked about how the Jace in the matchup is pretty good later on in the game.
Yep.
But if he's ever forced in a 1-3-1 or a 1-4, I mean, Sword should get the better of him.
Really should. Ryzo had a tough time last time, as that's already the opener you want to see. Sword just running after him as well. So that'll be the start of the lane. Tarzan working his magic on the bot side. Red buff. It's going to be a bottom side start for both now. Meliodas, Wolves start here for the Rek'Sai.
Makes him go top side, and he can challenge for the enemy blue a little bit faster. Of course, I've seen a lot of Wolf camp starts. It really depends on the mode of the jungler, especially for Rek'Sai that doesn't have to take his blue. That's not a main game for himself.
Yep.
Keep it on the map, give it over to Null when he feels like he can make a second run in the jungle. So that makes it easier, at least for us, to focus on what Meliodas is looking for. He's going to be top side early, maybe making it harder for Sword to put some pressure on Rezo.
Makes it harder for him to get the read on where this Rek'Sai is going to be. There's an early ward dropped in the tri-brush, so for Sword, he's going to have the vision down if this early level 2, level 3 gank comes through from Meliodas.
Yeah, Rek'Sai is going to be able to take his Krug, should be able to wrap around for his Raptors, and then from that point forward, take the Scuttle Crab. That's full topside pressure now that Tarzan can't contest for, that you would expect. And if you're looking mid lane too, Null's putting in a lot of good work pushing in Chovy. You can do that if you start W, so something that we should be able to take note of. And then when we were talking about this lane coming into it, as I already mentioned, I mean, there's expectations, and it all really depends on if the Lux binding lands. I've seen so many games in the LPL where that Lux Q lands, and that's just literally all you talk about.
That's it, yeah.
That's literally all you talk about. So, depends on how much pain Lens and Viper can take.
They've been a pretty strong lane in the LCK, and for Viper and Lehens, you know, going up against a big core on Pallet, you feel confident here. LCK, they're lossless at the moment. There's a Binding finally landing. They zoom in there like Raz, we've been listening. A trap to come down, but saved just in time by Lehens to Val.
It's a really tough lane to deal with, and the reality is we're 3 minutes into the game. Turret plating's already been taken.
Yeah.
So if you are Griffin, gotta get moving fast to be able to make it worthwhile. Take a look at this.
Not just the bottom lane. Chovy actually swings through, ignites down as well. Looking for first blood with the flash. Knock up Chovy to get back.
Wait a minute.
He gets the Cyclone down. The flash in from Tarzan. They turn it around, but Meliodas gets first blood. Now for Tarzan to get the trade in a 1v2. Meliodas, Conqueror, the healing, not enough. Tarzan equalizes, looking for the damage on Nor. He runs back in. Body slams him as well. Nor almost goes down, and Tarzan feeling the love.
Null had to escape from that one. Great cancel out in the LeBlanc dash.
Yeah.
Certainly would have been the kill on towards Tarzan. Had the follow-up too, but that was fun. I mean, that was what Meliodas needed to be able to go for to get his mid laner ahead. Take a look at the beginning of this one, because Chovy was the primary focus, as you could tell. And I thought you would have to wait for Meliodas to come in with a knock-up. He didn't even need to do that with the E already landing.
Yep.
So the moment the binding landed, I was like, it looks good. Of course, Yasuo thought he was confident enough to be able to get the kill on Meliodas. At least he was able to bite down. Take a look at this, though.
We're fighting in the bottom lane. It's going to land. Instant cleanse there from Lehens. Getting some cool coordination off in this bot lane, and they deny the gank to him.
Meliodas is the jungler to watch VCS overall.
He is active.
He just ganks, man. That's what he does. Take a look at this. He can get canceled out.
I got overexcited. Excuse
me. I was
me.
looking at it too. It's all good. But I just want to see Meliodas, because a lot of times he'll find himself in a deficit. He's cool, like in terms of just experience.
Yep.
An experience deficit to be able to get his lanes ahead, and that was his attempt. So at least he gets his kill for his trouble. But remember, that was responded back by Tarzan too.
Well, so we're still at even footing, but the point is, in the end of the day, Meliodas' activity has been noted up against Griffin, and now with bottom lane priority still there as we expected, with mid evening out a little bit to the side of Chovy. Meliodas is pathing next. That's the question, because he was hard to track, but now Griffin have the lock.
Remember, Tarzan being able to go back to base and get his boots with Predator, he can start making his name known at this point.
Yep.
He has Raptors to pick up. He's getting to a point where once he hits 6, he can go bot side. Knowing bot lane is pretty easy with how squishy Pallet is, so he's starting to open up angles for himself.
But at this point of the game, you can get that scuttle, secure more vision down towards the bot side, and if you do get into the lane, it's a mouse dragon to start things off.
That's true.
So good news here for GRIFFIN for now, but still very excited to see the prospect of Dashing Buffalo in their last game in group stage as their bottom lane pushing in, about a 30 CS lead building.
Remember, my concern coming into this one was purely based off of if Dashing Buffaloes can get a lead, can they keep it? Well, they have something that they're working with. It's not an actual goal lead, but it's a lane that they can play through.
Yep.
And right now, Meliodas is doing his best to be able to keep it up. You can already see him pathing towards the bot side of the map. I don't think he's going to be looking for Dragon immediately. Oh, no.
Solo kill time, I think. Sword knocks back Ryzo into the world ender, but Sword ready for the shock blast to come through. Has flash as well, Raz.
Yeah, Ryzo's in dangerous territory.
He wants to clear the
shock
way,
blast.
but should you? The answer was yes in that time. Meliodas, you're speaking of, trying to come down to the bottom side.
All right, let's see what we can get out of this one.
Level
Lehans.
5. As Caulfield's Warhammer, the flash comes through. Pallet can't lock. He double light binds a minion.
Feels bad.
It does.
At least they get the flash from Lehans, but take a look at Tarzan responding to this game.
And he's level 6. Predator coming in, as you mentioned there before. Meliodas hit 6
What's
himself,
up?
so Void Rush there. Heal immediately. Pallet gets knocked back. Body pop down. The Korean crowd love it once again as Devour to save away the 80 carry. Lehans going to drop here, but Void Rush is jumping onto the backline. Viper's the next target who flashes away.
No.
Ace in the hole! And it lands. In the hole you go, Mr. Viper.
Great execution from Dashing Buffaloes, and we get more fights here.
It's not even an LPL game, Raz, but I'm loving it. The flash away from Norland. Vietnamese region getting even more bloodier each second.
But GRIFFIN are matching it, and it just doesn't stop.
They're going to speed things up. Lehans. He's like, he pressed tongue lash on his body, and it went the wrong way.
I don't know where he was pressing it. It's fine, though.
It was the best bait of your life.
But this is a good game. This is the game you want.
It's
a game that never ends.
Of League of Legends. Chovy getting engaged on in the mid lane. The binding will land, flashes over the wall. Meliodas can't follow it, but burning summoners left, right, and center.
Yeah, so many summoners that you do need to take a step back and just start to recognize it, right? Bottom lane from Dashing Buffaloes is completely gone. They don't have a summoner to their name. So for your Tarzan, it's going to have your flash up very soon. A play like this is very doable. But take a look at Big Koro and Meliodas at the end of the day. Because Tarzan with an excellent snipe being able to get Lux, but the response by Big Koro and Meliodas using his ultimate to go straight for Viper is actually well done.
Yeah.
And then, of course, separates him though. Viper thinks that, yeah, exactly, right? He thinks he's all right. That's not the case whatsoever.
Tarzan's belly not big enough, so and that'll be the case. And even though we're talking about summoners there before, that bottom lane now 2 kills, BF pickaxe there for Big Koro. So this lane for Dashing Buffalo has gone exactly how they wanted it to a point.
I mean, look, there are 3 turret platings still up for Viper and Lands. That just means that Dashing Buffaloes, wow, he's actually going top lane. Okay, trying to upset what's happening here. Because I was thinking he'd go bot side of the map, but he's already tunneling in.
The gang's there, the flash for Flash. Meliodas can't get the knock up. The Void Rush comes in once again. Sword trying to accelerate his way out, but Ryzo picks up the kill, and Meliodas is across Summoner's Rift right now.
Welcome to Vietnam, my friends. This is what you saw at MSI.
Yeah.
This is what upset G2 a few too many times. Meliodas is dictating the pace of the game, and Null is actually playing well here to make it easy for him. So, great early game so far from Dashing Buffaloes.
In a lane that was 20 CS behind, Ryzo's catched up, able to push in the wave a little bit, but Tarzan to absorb. Mid lane was down in CS, but still is, excuse me. But at this point, Dashing Buffalo wanted to fight again. That's a light fight only onto Lehans. He cleanses once again over the trap. He walks through. Tanky Top gets another trap to come through. Meliodas is down here as the ultimate from Sona connects, but it's not going to kill Pallet.
Stop it!
They turn onto, they beam him down. Dashing Buffaloes are just that.
4 times he was getting nailed down, and here's another CC in the mid lane.
I thought he had Moby Boots just walking across the map.
It's insanity that he is everywhere at once. The man is omnipresent. But you might not want to be near your tower. At this point, if you're Viper and Lehans, you're getting bullied. Yeah. How about we take a second to think about that?
Take a second to cool.
Calm down. Take a drink. I'm going to take one right now. You start talking.
Okay, I'll just go.
Even though I wasn't doing the majority of the talking during that one.
Well, the LPL couldn't take down the LCK, and although far be it, as we're at the start of this game between GRIFFIN and Dashing Buffalo.
And this is what we wanted to see from Dashing Buffalo.
A great opener, yes.
So, my thing here is when you get into a game like this and when you start getting mucked up is what happened here, right?
Good work.
Meliodas is going to the it's not necessarily the wrong places, because when you think the bot side pressure is consistently going up, usually teams would say, okay, the Rek'Sai coming back bottom lane.
He will always be here, right?
No, at least he would always come back bot.
Right.
But what ended up happening was he just passed up topside, recognizing the wave was starting to crash into Rezo. Rezo could set up for a gank for Rek'Sai, so he's just going for kills. That's what the game is about for Buffaloes right now.
To make it as bloody as possible, it was Lahenza's screen who froze up. That has been fixed. We're getting back onto Summoner's Rift. 11 minutes in now. And for Dashing Buffaloes, if you missed this early game, you need to rewind and bring yourself up to date, because Ryzo in a losing lane has now caught back up. That kill means the CS gap doesn't mean as much anymore. And realistically, the only losing lane across Summoner's Rift is that mid lane with the LeBlanc.
And he's just doing a great job of setting up for ganks too. So remember, no summoner on Chovy as well. So if there's a gank to come through, I know he's doing well for himself, but it's only going to make it worse with a Rek'Sai who's got 2 kills to his name, 3 assists as well. Already finished up his Warriors enchant. So great start from the Buffaloes. The point that I need to focus on, we talked about this coming into the game, is that, yeah, they get themselves early game leads. We saw that during MSI. It's about whether they can keep it or not. Consistency with that lead is important. And my eyes during VCS was that they were able to accomplish that. Take a look at here.
Well, stop the early game. That'll be one of the process. Predator chilling Smite Tarzan on the body bomb till he flashes away. Doesn't matter, you can go into an ulti, but you need that kill. Not enough spellbound at the moment, and Sword picks up his first kill of the game.
Didn't even want to give Ryzo a chance to duck and dodge the ultimate, so gets the assured kill. Tarzan is huge this early game.
It's your last breath, Nor, apparently now. That's the clone! Nor, you cheeky devil.
Yeah, he just rolled the dice on that one. What are you going to get?
I like the dice, Raz. I'll take that if I'm someone like Nor. Gets away, but still scathed by Chovy. Starting to win out in this matchup, but we finally get that point. It's double crescendo in the bottom lane. Big Cora even almost takes a turret shot rather, but they're still fine. They can keep pushing it.
But they're hanging in. That is what I'm seeing. Viper and Lions are actually being put in such a bad position.
Yep.
But while there's 3 deaths to their name, their turret's still up. 12 minutes into the game, the early chip that Big Koro and Pallet were going for has been slowed down. Here comes Meliodas, who wants to speed the pace of this.
He needs to find something, because the Rift Herald trade is not that at the moment. More turret plating to go down, and they need another wave, which means more time, which means Tarzan has an opportunity.
Well, I mean, sure, Tarzan, I agree. But I'm looking at Chovy right now. You already saw 2 fights in a row that he's been styling on.
Yep.
You look at top lane, and Sword has been doing a great job in that one as well. Regardless of the Rek'Sai pressure, he's been able to come back into the lane, out-pressure Ryzo simply because of the matchup, and then get some chip on the turret plating. Remember, that's 2 turret platings down that Sword was able to pick up. So early gold lead is slightly there from GRIFFIN, and it's only going to get worse with Chovy starting to get online.
Yeah, that's right. A couple of minutes ago, it really wasn't. It was towards Dashing Buffalo by that 1,000, but Tarzan's gank back in the top side to stabilize the map has slowed things down to a process, and Sword able to get this vision down, just spots out Meliodas to the wing.
The games we've seen when Dashing Buffaloes have went up against teams, you know, you usually get caught up in their pace.
Yeah.
You start to go wild with them. That's what we saw with IG versus Dashing Buffaloes, that you saw with multiple teams going up against them.
And to be fair, GRIFFIN were matching it at a point earlier in this game.
Yes, but what I'm pointing out is that they're starting to recognize and slow down the pace. Sword in particular, placing that control ward, catching up Meliodas.
Yep.
He's not calling his jungler into a bad position. He's not like forcing a 1v1 because Ryzo is looking for that one as well. They're putting themselves back into even setting because they know that the lanes should be going well for themselves.
Especially since when we talk about lanes, GRIFFIN, their bottom lane, still in a comfortable position after turret plating has now dropped. Mentioned the Rift Herald for Tarzan here before too, so just waiting for GRIFFIN to pull the trigger on that one and make something of it as Dashing Buffalo now thinking about their next move. Meliodas coming down once again.
Phantom Dancer's been picked up by Chovy. That's a big tick that we should be focusing on too, that Chovy, while he was doing well in lane, now even better.
Alongside the Seraph's Embrace, Archangel Staff here for Viper. IE picked up for Big Koro in this lane, and with the gank impounding here from Meliodas, waiting in the brush.
All right.
It's going to be a dead Viper if he gets caught out.
Rek'Sai has flash too, so he could have made it happen. Remember, cleanse there from Legends. It wouldn't have worked too well for the Rek'Sai, but certainly with the follow-up that Pilot has to offer. So makes a lot of sense. Focus towards the mid lane. If they can get a kill on towards Chovy, you've done a lot of good work. Remember, Chovy also has both flash and exhaust. He has a way to get back on it. Wonder what we're going to be seeing out of Meliodas.
Still no first item for Null there, so the pressure onto Chovy is minimalized. Looking at the gold lead between the two, and that's 7,000 there for Chovy.
800 for the top lane.
Yeah. Good or bad, Raz?
That's good. What are you talking about?
Yeah, good.
It's great for Sword, and that's been the consistent pressure we have. Oh, here we go, though.
Oh, onto Null. The wind wall just blocks him out. Pala going to show himself alongside Meliodas, who tries to get the mid lane, and again, just nullified by GRIFFIN.
Null has been doing a great job this game so far, holding on to his chain just for the wind wall. He knows that he can't throw it out too early, but what it also makes, the reality of it, is that it stalls the play if there's a gank incoming. It makes it so, you know, Chovy has some time to work for and ask for more pressure. Tarzan was in position, so it's making it a little bit more difficult for Dashing Buffaloes to be coming into this game with the lead that they earlier on had.
And remember, there's so many elements of Chovy you have to get past. Once that flash is burnt, still the lifeline passive on the one item of Phantom Dancer there. So for Chovy, a lot more survivability in these engages, and they're going to start one off themselves. That's Rifthold finally down into the mid lane. Is it going to be pressured or not? Well, it's just Null and Chovy, and give him some of the gold. The turret should drop here as we look to the bottom side, and it's just going to be a disappearance from Lehens, who burns both his summoners in the gank.
We already talked about the fact that bottom lane is completely fine because of their summoners. So the fact that Meliodas went for the gank anyways just shows us that he didn't have options. He can't do too much with the lead that he himself had. So they have to be playing defensively, because look what's about to be coming up top.
Big proactivity here for
How
Griffin.
you doing?
Rizo, like, oh my god, the Chovy and Tarzan. Explosive cast into the world ender, looking for escape, and the flash away. Tarzan and Chovy don't find the kill, but my lord, do they get pressured onto Rizo.
Happy feet. He was just trying to duck and dodge so Chovy couldn't get his ultimate on anyone, and that was what happened. No knockup whatsoever from Gragas missing his ultimate, and he, well, can't say it missed, he flashed away from it. So great job there from Rizo, but at least finally Dashing Buffaloes will be able to get the turret off this.
Not before the top lane turret goes down though. So in the process of that first turret in the bottom side, Dashing Buffaloes lose their top, lose their mid. And the map wide open here for Griffin towards the top side.
Last time we saw TOP Sports play, now they had the Sona going through the Athene's Unholy Grail build. Didn't really have any damage, was just straight support.
That's right.
Mostly because there was not much gold flowing into that lane anyways, and you were incredibly behind. This time around, there's nothing like that for Viper. Viper's doing well for himself with 106, and of course the Targon's proc coming through from Lehens. So being able to hit his quest goal pretty early, he's doing well for himself, so he's going straight towards the Lich Bane.
That's why the constant discussion has been around this bottom lane and how well Viper and Lehens are doing. And I can tell you right now, in terms of CS, right up there where Viper should not be. I mean, including the targets, difference is about that 15, 20 CS plus the gold that would naturally come through for the 80 carry. 2 items on Big Koro now, and you think, well, should he be at this point? Maybe he should be a little bit further right now. It's Dashing Buffaloes themselves behind by about 1,000 gold.
So at the end of the day, I mean, Griffin's gotten to the stage of the game that they're most scary in. Chovy can take side lane. He's already getting solo experience and waves up top lane. If he ends up collapsing alongside Tarzan, the siege that Dashing Buffaloes are looking for will get busted up. So they're going to be wedding crashers in the sense that Dashing Buffaloes, when they set up for their ganks, if they have that vision control, they can't really continue to push because of the 2-map pressure that's right on your screen.
We were hyping up coming into pick and ban. The Gragas Yasuo hit that 2nd level ulti as well. Tarzan at 11 himself, Chovy 13. It's important because right now there's that level similarity between jungle and mid on Dashing Buffaloes, but you prefer the 2v2 of Chovy and Tarzan and how they've interacted so far.
End of the day, an experience advantage is very real. It's least from the bottom lane. I just want to see, specifically Ryzo, we haven't talked too much about him and his state of mind. Continue to be able to push bot lane and force Sword in the lane. The real fear for me is that Sword has the ability to, force a freeze or push himself and help rotate towards the team. If he can rotate alongside the team, then the issue will be Dashing Buffaloes cannot contest for objectives. 2-minute off until the Ocean Dragon comes up. And then we're talking about Baron that's been up in 15 seconds now. GRIFFIN have the complete vision control here. So we'll have to see what Dashing Buffaloes can do to kind of upset that.
Setting up towards bottom side, Meliodas spent the majority of the game down here, but Vision's starting to get back in favor of GRIFFIN. We're having a look at the goal difference towards the bottom there as well, and GRIFFIN have just brought this back nice and slowly, quelled that early game that we've been talking about. Now still 2,000 in the lead here for the LCK representatives.
Yeah, it's the biggest lead that they've had this game.
Yeah.
At some point, Dashing Buffaloes had a lead, but it's been slowly being pushed towards GRIFFIN. And they went through the storm. Take a look at the items. Viper had both the Lich Bane now ready for him. So team fight is online for GRIFFIN. They just want to force it. It's going to be a tough position for a Rek'Sai. If a Rek'Sai is coming into a team fight, how does he engage?
Yeah.
Now, there's a Gragas that can easily stop you, the body bop in mind. Of course, we don't have to say too much about Chovy, and mostly the pressure is going to be coming from the ultimate Viper has in tow. So a lot of issues if we're just talking about Rek'Sai's ability to get in.
Because you talk about the threat of the Rek'Sai and you want that GA coming up, which will be the third item as Black Cleaver was just finished on the jungler. And you get to that point where you say he can dive and Dashing Buffaloes can follow up, but that's not yet.
Good ward here. You're going to be able to catch it, but Nal's been doing a good job at least holding Chovy and Tarzan at bay.
Still focused towards the top side. Dashing Buffalo moving to this position. But you look at the deep vision here from GRIFFIN, and they can play off this as Explosive Cast does it into the final breath. The chapter for Chovy has only just begun. It's crescendo over to Meliodas, starts dancing with no pants, but Tarzan wants to send her asunder as we find Sword joining the fight. Tarzan flushes in with body slam. Ignite down as he goes golden. Sword jumps in into the backline. Ryzo wants to flank though. Look at the World Ender. Only onto the Tarm Catcher. Sword keeps cleaning up the rest of the battle. Ryzo can't find his entrance, and GRIFFIN sweep them out.
Great teleport from Sword to join the fight, but Tarzan just said go. Threw in the ultimate to set Chovy up and double down around the fight. No Meliodas and no Big Coral means GRIFFIN's going to be able to take this.
With no hope of taking the Baron here from Dashing Buffaloes. Nice and easy does it. They will converge on the position, but I think it's just too late. Final spark, the range is not there. And all over the wall, they jump onto Ryzo instead. And this is the Dashing Buffalo. Whoa! Soda takes it away. Not too bad if I say so myself. The flash over the wall from Ryzo, but for GRIFFIN, they still get the Baron.
Yeah, Tarzan couldn't even use Smite for it, but that was just a great amount of burst from Sona. Take a look at the beginning of this one. Chovy repositions alongside Viper, and then how do you play this one off as Dashing Buffaloes? Meliodas cannot take this fight any longer. You're already in a really tough position because you're in between both terrains, so the Shock Blast is going to hit you, the Body Bop is going to hit you. And then if you're taking a look at this, that's about the end of the fight. GRIFFIN started off very strong. There wasn't really a way to be able to get out. The exit strategy was a pretty good trap for Sword and Tarzan to take advantage of.
And just shows you who's more comfortable in the fight right now as we're talking about it. For Sword, the almost three item Jace versus Ryzo on the Aatrox. Couldn't get into the fight, doesn't have the death stance, not confident with the ulti and the healing it's going to provide. So you get to that point where for GRIFFIN, you're feeling confident for the next 10, 15 minutes.
And this is why people say that Tarzan is the best jungler in the world, if not one of, right? When we're singing the praises of people like him, it's because, A, he was able to get a good lead early on in the game for himself. And he's confident enough in how he was able to stabilize. Go up top lane, give Sword, even out the lane. All right, get out of here.
Viper burns his flash. Lehens might be caught out, but Ryzo can't go any further forward as Righteous Glory now popped out from Lehens. Nice to find that item in the inventory of Tarm Catch.
Yeah, just pushing him off on that one. But Tarzan has been focused. Sword is going to be caught in the ward.
Yeah, I think he thought he was going blind here, but the void coming through. Sword is like in the middle of the red buff. No one from Dashing Buffaloes needs to worry about that. They pick up the kill, and GRIFFIN is like, okay.
They had that side of the jungle control for some time that he was pretty convinced. He was like, all right, I can get a flank around here, or at least have a good position for a shock blast. Gets caught off guard, but at least Griffin have position on this bot lane turret.
And they've still got Baron, they've still got a 5K gold lead here at 24 minutes into the game. And now they've got an inner turret, now they expand that even more.
Oh no, LeBlanc and Rex are on the wrong side of the map on this one.
They are, there's a 3 versus 4. Griffin don't know that for now, there's no vision up there. LeBlanc and Rek'Sai took some time to get back as well, so free inhibitor turret, Griffin say thank you.
It's quite easy for them, and remember, ultimate is available from both Chovy and Tarzan, so they can make that play again if Dashing Buffalo overstep. They're trying to slowly step out of the jungle, not to contest for the dragon, but to at least get some defensive vision on the map.
They need something right now. A pick for Dashing Buffalo would be fantastic, but you're hoping for so much more. Dragon picked up once again. Not a big one here, but just trying to roll with it at the moment. Cloud coming up next, but not important as Griffin have just been styling on these fights, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, take a look at this.
Apart from this.
Good setup. He's like, maybe I'm on the right side of the blast cone, but either way, he was going to die here.
Yeah.
Good catch with the ward that they had. That's the key to defensive wards. That's why they were trying to push through in the bot side of the map after all of that was said and done.
I saw the replay coming. I'm like, oh, we're going to look at the Griffin fight again. Yeah, why not? I'm like, wait.
You got to humble them. You got to do.
This sword might be caught out again, but...
Nice minions.
Preyseeker's not going to connect.
Protect the president.
Yep. They hide in front of the Jace, walks away. Now, Sword can keep splitting in this lane because remember, even without the Baron buff, Griffin moving up here now. They want another inner turret. Mid looks difficult at the moment, and for Griffin, controlling this top side seems to be easier as they start walking through.
Yeah, I just need them to continue to push up mid. They don't need anyone else to be pressuring bot side. They're going to be completely fine. The wave's working on in their favor.
And as soon as they see Ryzo, they know he teleports down.
Yeah, they see him now. So, easy. Focus up that top lane turret. LeBlanc is there. Of course, they don't see him just yet. But as long as they see Big Kuro up in the mid lane, that's all they need. That's all the information that they need to be able to take this top lane turret.
I mean, Null can't be here. Explosive cast. Yasuo's not nearby. So, the combination, it is not a wombination there. Griffin still get the inner turret, so it's still a net win.
All right, now they can rotate right back mid. I mean, this is what the game is about. I don't know about that teleport. I don't think you can control or at least defend this turret. But he's just trying to be in position to place traps, it seems.
That's Big Kuro.
The biggest of Koros.
For his namesake, he had to make it.
But here it is. I mean, this is what they're trying to defend for. If they can hold this mid lane turret up, the next Baron that comes up, they can at least move a little bit closer to the bush next to the turret itself so they can place control wards and defend. I mean, if they lose this turret, they simply cannot defend from a Baron take that Griffin would go for.
And Dashing Buffalo still have their item spikes here. It's Death's Dance there for the Aatrox, which is just really what you want.
It's not enough.
No, but 2 item Aatrox is a start, right? So
it's not enough.
Towards the 80 carat, right? I'm just going to keep talking. I mean, 3 item Caitlyn. Like, look.
Yasuo has 3 items with Guardian Angel. Viper has, or at least he's really close to his 3rd item as well. If we're just talking about team fights alone, Griffin's going to take it. We're talking about split push. Griffin's going to take it. What does Dashing Buffaloes, like, what do they have right now?
A chance.
Yeah.
There we go.
They have a Hollywood film in the making.
Yeah. Wait. What kind of Hollywood film?
A Rocky montage. You know, something
okay,
like,
no.
beaten and battered. They can come back, and the directors are right now watching.
I thought you were talking about like a knockoff of Iron Man or something called Metal Man. No. Actually a good movie, by the way. But Dashing Buffalo, still a look towards that pick that was built up from the start, and that's the end of my optimism. Want to see it on Summoner's Rift.
So take a look at the top side, because the vision control in the red side jungle is non-existent for Dashing Buffalo. That's because Griffin has been playing for that side for some time now. They're trying their hardest to push in. They're doing a good job of being able to stop Griffin from just shoving in and then rushing for it.
Yeah.
Take a look at Tarzan, though. He's just trying to set up Chovy. This time the bush is not warded. There it is!
Yeah, and Yasuo tries to poke his head into Null. Drop a control ward. It's gone already. There's another ward to follow on by, but Griffin, this top side rush again. Fight in the same place? I think so.
At least you're Rek'Sai. I mean, Rek'Sai at this position, when you don't have vision, or you're trying to get something. Oh, no. Ooh. They should be able to catch this, but Rek'Sai is no longer with them.
Talented back away, so safety for now for Dashing Buffalo, and the game continues.
Good positioning in the top lane wave. Just take a look at this, man. Yeah.
Green side's like, what is? Where is the vision? There is none.
They don't have an idea where Sword is. They can assume that he's with them, but honestly, he's just trying to match Ryzo in the bot lane.
Yep. Griffin as powerful as they are. Still trying to push forward here.
If Griffin wants to go for a Baron rush,
They can do it.
they need to do it with Chovy and, or Sword in particular.
Okay.
But since Chovy is up top lane, essentially pushing back the LeBlanc, then it's going to be a slow one to be able to do. So let's see what their goal is here. All right.
It involves Ryzo TPing in. Level 16 Aatrox now walking out of base.
They have a pretty good flank ward if Griffin is mid lane. But that's where exactly they're not.
Yeah, the explosive cast goes through. We're right into the last breath. Chovy onto Meliodas. He goes gold, but how much time can he buy? Not enough. They heal. He gets away, which is good news from Dashing Buffalo, but still for Griffin, they get their health bars and they have Sword on the bottom lane.
Take a look at Chovy's ultimate timer. Yeah, it's halfway gone. He can pretty much get it in time for the next team fight.
Yeah. Tarzan will be following through with an explosive cast. Sword on the bottom lane, as I mentioned there before, while Baron is being started up, and Griffin having the time of their lives, playing their bait game, playing the Aatrox game, and Ryzo almost dies while this is going on.
Viper Burst is assuredly going to give Griffin Baron here.
Oh, here comes the ultimate, the final spark, plus the LeBlanc. No. Tarzan will secure it. It's a good smite there by the Griffin jungle.
Whenever you have Lich Bane proc, yeah, get out of there.
Oh, Meliodas is trying to spot him.
No!
He can't get the tremor sets because Sword ain't moving.
But yeah, trying to deal with that is worse than like a Cho'Gath ultimate.
Yeah.
Because you have the Lich Bane with Rabadon's proc, the Viper is going to be providing you the smite that Tarzan has there. I understand that Dashing Buffaloes are trying to force an error from Griffin's side.
Yeah.
It's just not happening.
So my optimism gets less and less in this game, and more towards the dominance of the LCK so far in Rift Rivals. The 2 or 9,000 bit of gold lead. I was going to say 2K, but we're almost towards that 10K margin. Numbers aside, at 31 minutes, Griffin are moments away from just tunneling towards that open inhibitor on the bottom side, looking towards top side, and setting up this potential 1-3-1.
I think, okay, Aatrox is immediately moving away. My eyes were on the minimap, simply because, you know, Jace had the opportunity to look for that fight. Griffin was in a position to look to collapse.
Yep.
That's the worry of having a Tahm Kench on your team. Tahm Kench ultimate can cut you off on that one, so that's the worry of being on side lane and trying to get the first shove. If you don't want to deal with 2 crashing waves at the same time, nice trap line.
Yeah, I was just like, well, there you go, big car.
If you're trying to worry, like not worry about that, then having Aatrox push out bot lane like preemptively, that would be the idea, but you'd have to have eyes on where Lehens is on the map.
Right now, looking towards that vision, looking for the peaky flank here on the side of Dashing Buffaloes. They've still, to their merit, held off this mid lane turret for a very long time, but Griffin, when they force these other sides, as we're talking about, it's going to be very difficult for Dashing Buffalo to defend this. Chovy just hitting it away.
There we go. Just deking the traps in the mid lane, saying we don't have to deal with it. The wave's starting to crash onto this one. Wow, all right. Yeah.
Yeah, Viper hits big.
Smack it.
Late
Where are we going?
Here we going. Lehen's going for a mission. We look bottom side because Sword is doing the same thing, but this time to the inhibitor.
They're just pushing the mid lane wave. They're doing it all at the same time. We'll have to see if Sword can get out of this one scot-free.
Palo looking for a flank, but he is 5 levels behind the Jace. He will evaporate.
God, this is daunting.
Viper loves these turrets.
Help me!
A 1-3-1 with Baron, the worst kind. Ryzo has to go golden because he was ignited on the side, or rather just hit hard.
Yeah, well, Meliodas is going to die.
Yeah, okay, that'll happen. That'll happen. The camera pans out for a reason so we can see the solo kill from Sword.
They found an access to the mid lane turret. The traps aren't even doing their job either, so.
Griffin has just demolished Dashing Buffalo since 15 minutes in the game. Sword hits again. A double knock-up. Chovy decides to go in. Wows the crowd once more. The Dashing Buffaloes, not even close. It doesn't matter. Griffin walk up to the Nexus, up to the fountain. And Big Coro sent home. Tarzan even dives to add insult to injury, and that's just going to be it.
Yeah, here we go. Maybe Null could be dived on. We'll see how happy Griffin's feeling about this one. Get him.
It's not quite the happy game you expected, but for Griffin, it was clean. It was a 7-0 lead now for the LCK.
A great showing for Griffin as a team. Now, you love to see Dashing Buffaloes fight back, trades in sides. Meliodas having a good up on the jungle, giving himself a lead, but also Tarzan was doing the same thing. He stabilized top. He ended up going right back to the bottom lane, was able to get the kill on Lux again. So, I mean, the team that played the smarter game plan slowed it back down while Chobi was already just getting that up on the lane. They slowed it down. That's what you want to see out of Griffin. Great job for them to be able to pick up the win.
Also good to see the Yasuo Gragas coming through.
Yeah.
In Rift Rivals. Not sure. I don't think it's the first one, Raz, from memory, but it looked pretty good here from Griffin, and the LCK continues to dominate. We're going, you're the LPL's favorites here. The LCK's been performing out of their right mind.
Playing incredibly well. And that's when, I mean, every fan, be it LPL or LCK, when they looked at this event, they were really hoping that their favorite teams wouldn't choke when the spotlight shone on them. And it felt like Griffin came into this one, and sure, Dashing Buffaloes, they were the heavy favorites against it, that they would take down Dashing Buffaloes.
Yep.
But there was always that, like, I guess, memory sparking up. The Dashing Buffaloes took down G2 once upon a time. They had made a great stamp in the international event at that time, but Griffin didn't care about that. Take a look at this.
Yeah, I think we're going to see how Ryzer got so low. The Baron minions did a lot, Raz, and Sword just came in, attacked him once, twice,
It's red
3,
buff.
4, and it burns.
Yeah, red buff burn was actually putting in a lot of work there. I mean, Sword was a one-man army with 3 people on top of him, and he even went back. This is when we were at the helicopter view. Meliodas dying. 2 people put down by Sword.
Yeah. Joe didn't expect it. It's like, what's going on here? And for Sword, you know,
That's
just
what I'm
part of
talking
the elements,
about.
that was the best part.
We needed to see this happen. We saw it a few times this game. Dashing Buffaloes tried their hardest to keep their lanes back up to par, but they played a genuinely risky composition.
There's number 1. Ready?
Nice shield.
Tarzan.
Got him.
Yeah, worth it.
But they played a risky composition. That's what happened. I mean, if you're Dashing Buffaloes, you know that the Yasuo is up to par. Mid lane and top lane were slowly going in favor of Chobi and Sword, and by the end of it, when the game got stabilized, Rek'Sai couldn't find a gank back bottom lane because of the cleanse that was available, and Viper and Lands were actually playing that one incredibly safe. That was pretty much lights out. Dashing Buffaloes without Meliodas really couldn't find much else.
Yeah, that's right, and we were praising him so early on in the game, so it's a shame that for Dashing Buffalo they weren't able to keep up that momentum, but also just such a testament, as we said before, because of the likes of Griffin and how they outplayed the game itself.
Well,
Against
I
Dashing.
mean, look, Griffin right now are outright just the best team at this tournament.
Yeah.
Outright the best team at the tournament. The only ones that we would look towards and say they can challenge them is FPX, Invictus Gaming.
That's true.
Those 2 teams, one we'll see later. Well, I guess we'll both see these teams later tonight. FPX and IG still have some games, but FPX is the one that got smited by Kingzone in game 1 last day. So the fact that FPX already got demolished both in draft, in play, execution, and then you see Invictus Gaming, they're the ones that still need to show them to the audience. Remember, Invictus Gaming debuted earlier today in the tournament, and they still have that one game that will, at least for the audience out there, kind of spell you know, doom for LPL. If IG lose to SKT, we're both leaving the desk.
Yeah, for the day at least.
Finding a plane ride.
But it just makes it that much more enticing when you look at LCK, who've already secured first. They're going straight to the finals, which a lot of people are assuming is going to be against the LPL. That you're like, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
You know, or LMS, VCS, if they can pick themselves up tomorrow in the semifinals.
Yeah, I mean, that's a while away.
Yeah.
And for me, I just want to sing the praises. No, be happy for the people
Griffin,
that
who's
the
one of
winners.
them.
Exactly. And for players like Tarzan that had a great game here with the on the Gragas. So I want to see what happens. We still have an interview set up.
Yeah, we do. It's going to be over to the bottom lane in Viper with Jason.
All right, taking down Dashing Buffaloes and then having a clean 7-0 streak for the LCK. Griffin's Viper. You guys are on a winning spree. How do you feel? You're undefeated thus far. No, we just play our best for all the given matches, and we're very content that we took all the dubs that we were given to. No, you took the opposing team took all the power hitters such as like Lux and so forth, and then you took Sona. So how do you feel about the picks and bans? No, I really was reluctant to pick Sona. However, because of its powerful skills when having the appropriate items, that was the good part. No, what was the motive behind you going through just all damage items? No, that's a very good way to build up the items, and I don't even have any survival anyway, so I rather just have more damage. No, at certain points, the tempo of the game kind of went back and forth. What was the turning point, or did you feel any insecurities? No, we didn't at all, because we knew we had a better team fight abilities than our opponents. All right, any last words? We're gonna make a good finish, so we're gonna try our best in regards to that. Okay, that will be it for the interview. We'll be back after a short break.
너 수수파 빠진 거리 돼. 거리 돼.
잡았어. 라인.